Yeah, we'll go ahead and get started. I'll give you the injury list. The following players will not practice: Damian Harris, Quentin Morris, and Ed Oliver. Ed Oliver's dealing with a toe. Quentin Morris has the ankle, and then Damian is in the concussion protocol and dealing with the neck coming off of Sunday night's game. And then the following players will practice: Josh Allen. We'll see how he does today, dealing with his shoulder. Kyer Elam re-aggravated an ankle that flared up or that started in camp. Cam Lewis, shoulder. Dane Jackson is still dealing with the foot. Greg Rousseau with the foot. Dalton Kincaid has cleared concussion protocol. He will practice. And then Dawson Knox with his wrist. So that's the list I have for you, and the time's yours.
So just to be clear, the second half of those guys practicing, but like in limited capacity?
We're gonna walk through today. Yeah. So.
You the concern level, obviously, with Josh's shoulder. All injuries are concerned.
Yeah.
Concern level with it.
Yeah. I'll know more a little bit after today and seeing how he does out there, and always a concern, as you said. I know we've been around, around each other enough that he'll communicate if things raise to a certain level. Right now, it's a a one day at a time approach here, so we'll see.
Is the Wednesday walk these 2 weeks in a row just a function of your schedule, or is this a philosophy change?
No, just a function of the schedule, and trying to make sure that giving the guys a chance to get their legs back underneath of them, coming back from London and then into a late Sunday night game, and not having their normal routine. So I think that's important.
Did Ed play through the toe injury at all during the game?
A little bit, yeah.
How important has he been to you guys, especially with Daquan going down? It seemed like he's just been playing the most consistent football of his career.
He has. And again, similar to A.J. Epinesa and a few others up front, I mean, it's been fun to watch their growth. Ed, as you mentioned, and just different process during the week. I think it's development, maturation, focusing on that process, and I think that's why you're seeing some of the results we're seeing.
Knowing Josh's competitive nature, even with his shoulder being sore, to see him lower his shoulder into that linebacker in the end zone, would you have been surprised if he didn't do that in defending his team?
Yes and no. I mean, he's very competitive. We've got a bunch of very competitive, guys, staff included. And so, as I said before, I wouldn't expect our players to back down. But there's also a sense of being smart all the while too. And but I didn't, he knows, and you don't back down. So.
Hey, Sean, when you have your offense with some tough sledding the last couple of weeks, do you see a frustration level? Do you see them anxious? And if so, how do you sort of tell them to relax and stick with what they do best?
Right, I think it comes back to consistency more than anything, and the things that lead to consistency. And I think that's where our focus and intentionality needs to be, is what gets us to be more consistent. Because there's been games when we have shown what we can do, but not enough on a consistent basis, whether it's within a game or game to game. And I think that's really where our focus needs to be this week.
Is there a need to maybe you sense that this offense can get to answers quickly into what into counteracting what defenses are doing? Can they is that there? Can they get to answers quickly?
Well, I think that's part of coaching, is being able to adjust within a game. And I've mentioned this before, that coming up with a game plan is one step, but it's just one step. The second piece of that is adjusting through the game, and as the game declares somewhere early, you've got to be able to adjust, and I think we've shown that at times, but it's an ongoing, again, part of us, growing through the season as well here.
Has Damian been back at the building? Are there still positive steps with his coming out of the hospital?
I'm not going to go into great detail on that, and with respect to his situation, out of respect for him, he's just taking it one day at a time right now.
Based on
I do. He's like I've said before, mentioned to you, Chris. He is all about football and very serious in his approach. There's so much he doesn't know just based on experience alone, like it would be for any of us if we were out there. And so that'll come through reps. And I just love his attitude. The players love playing, with him, and they have great respect for him at a young age because of his style of play. Right? He goes all out. He's physical, and again, like I mentioned, he's very serious about his job.
Hey, Sean, Deontay Hardy was a guy you invested in to your deal. 10 snaps, I think it was, this past week. Is that a guy that you need to start finding a way to get him on the field and get him more involved?
Yeah, I think overall, whether it's Hardy or some of the other names that could be brought up as well, I think it's just about, hey, we're going into week 7 now. We should know some of these guys and what they do best and the roles that they're going to play and the positions they're going to occupy for us, and it's putting them in those positions so that we can be the best offense we can become.
When you got here, I'm sure you remember the talk about what's it going to take to beat the Patriots. You beat them 6 out of 7 times now. I guess maybe the question in New England is what's it going to take to beat the Bills at this point. What do you make of this flip? Is it just as easy as Tom Brady leading that team?
Well, we've got great respect for the Patriots and what they've accomplished. I mean, they have a deep history of winning, and that's not easy to do in this league. And so, really, our focus is on this week's game and not what's happened in the past or what's going to happen in the future. But our focus and sole focus needs to be on this week's game.
Sean, Dalton hasn't put up big numbers this week. Did your offense miss him, just his presence on the field and maybe things that he does to the coverage just by being there on Sunday night?
Well, Dalton is he has good football ability. I mean, he can help us even though he's young. He can help us. We've seen that. You guys have seen it at practice, and we have a lot of confidence in Dalton. And I think the best is yet to come with him.
What do you expect the final 2/3 of the regular season? What would you like to see in him development-wise?
Well, just like I said, with our entire football team, or the offense in this case specifically, with, as you mentioned, Dalton, is us continuing to develop consistency of putting players in a position and us developing execution, because that's the key piece of offensive football in particular is execution. And so the detail that leads to the execution is developed Monday through Saturday before a Sunday game, obviously, and Dalton getting Dalton involved, getting Dawson involved. So Hardy, I mean, all these, it's impossible. There's only one ball, right? But to get into a rhythm, it takes a certain approach and a certain level of detail to get the execution we need so that you can get into a rhythm. And we just haven't had that level of execution, and that has affected our rhythm. When you come off the field after an early 3rd down or 3 and out, it's hard to get into a rhythm. So it's about establishing a rhythm through execution.
Sean, if I could go back to the answer that you gave Sal a second ago about kind of defining the roles of certain players inside the offense. Do you feel like you're a little behind where you'd like to be at this point of the season, and how do you get those roles defined?
I think we've done it at times, but we need to do more of it. And just, again, putting our collective minds together, heads together, and saying, hey, this is what this player does best, and how then does it all come together into one unit and shaping a purpose and a plan each week. And we've done it at times. We've flashed that at times in different instances, different games, or parts of different games as well. And I'm excited because I know what we're capable of. You watch the Miami game, you watch the Raiders game, and so it's there. It's been there. It's just we've got to find that every year, whether it's defensively, offensively, or special teams. Through the course of a season, you have to continue to evolve as the team evolves and as the year evolves, and people get to knowing who you are and how they want to defend you, and then it's trying to stay a step ahead all the while.
Sean, I know it's
Last one.
next man up seems like a cliche at times, but to see what Quentin Morris did in the play that he made on one ankle, does that kind of send the message of, like, that's what we're talking about? It's his first target of the year in a huge spot in the game. Is that something that you can point to all the guys and say you never know when you're going to be ready?
And on top of that, as you mentioned, he was hobbling on that ankle, and he pushed through. I mean, there's a few other players that did as well. That really I didn't mention. I mean, Spencer Brown went out, as you guys know, in the game, came back in. That to me shows a lot of maturity and growth on Spencer's part in behalf as well. So there's growth happening with some of our young players, and that's good to see. All right, thanks, guys.